Hello and welcome back, or welcome to the Unashamed Podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us again. Today we're going to be talking about one of my experiences with feeling pretty shameful. It's definitely a really intense story, so I'm very sorry to anybody who knows me who's listening.
This is one of my favorite stories.
It's interesting. So this story is about the time me and my ex-boyfriend went to a sex club.
Ooh.
Yeah. So my ex and I met when we were around 24 years old. We met on Tinder.
Ooh, the fuck out.
Yeah, when it was popular.
Yeah.
The fuck out.
The fuck out.
It was kind of a relationship app at that point.
Before
so
it was.
Around that time it was a relationship app. So he was in school to become a doctor, a psychiatrist. And we will definitely go into more stories about this man. Let's call him Timmy.
Timmy.
And we started dating, and it wasn't very, I don't know. I had just gotten out of a long relationship with one of my other exes, and it was a very hard relationship to get over. It actually took me quite a while.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I actually had gotten over it by the time me and Timmy met. So
I feel like I didn't know that.
I mean, I dreamt about...
I did know that.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Like now it's coming back
Not
to me.
in like sexually ways. Like not sexually, but like...
You just had those dreams.
You had those dreams about them just popping up, you know?
Yeah.
Just can't get rid of them. So when we started seeing each other, I don't think I was like totally there.
Yeah.
And Timmy was very into me. It was pretty weird at first.
Because you weren't used to it, or why was it weird?
I hadn't been in a relationship for a while, and I feel like I hadn't really put myself out there, so maybe it was because I wasn't used to it.
Okay.
But it was also because the ferocity that he pursued me was like next level. I don't want to get into it too much, but we did meet on Tinder, but I actually worked with his ex-girlfriend.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So...
Wait, didn't she set you guys up?
So she did set us up.
Yeah.
But, I thought she set us up, but then I found out later, like, down the road that he actually kind of, forced her to.
Oh, fuck.
So anyways, it's another story. Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it.
I want to get into that later.
Yeah. He's manipulative.
Yeah.
Just like most of the men in these stories.
The men we talk about are just trash.
Yeah, they're trash.
Yeah.
So when we started dating, he was very, very into me, and I didn't really feel comfortable around him. I don't know, maybe it wasn't just him, maybe it was just me, but I didn't really feel all that comfortable.
Okay.
And we had some good dates. So he was in med school, and he had told me that he was going to be going out of town, so he got a placement out of town for one of his rotations. So he would be gone for quite a while. I think it was around a month. But before that, he wanted to go on a couple of dates. We had some really nice dates. I didn't really feel the connection so much. We went on a couple of dates in the span of 3 weeks, I would say.
Okay.
And they were okay, but as I said, I didn't feel the connection. It was a little bit awkward. I don't know if it was just me, but maybe I'm an awkward person. But I never felt comfortable around him. And right before he was leaving, he and I went on one last date before he left the city, and he brought up us being exclusive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I remember this.
I thought that it was a little bit rushed, but I was kind of like in the mindset of like, whatever. He obviously, I thought that he was a handsome man. Don't think anymore.
I don't know why you thought that.
I was blinded.
Blinded by the dick? Or?
Well, I don't even know, not really, because at this point we actually hadn't even had sex.
Oh, okay.
It had been like 3 weeks we had not had sex.
That's kind of cute, though.
It's not if you know the story why. I'll tell you that later. That's another shameful thing.
Oh my god.
There's like a lot of shame that goes into this relationship.
This was a toxic relationship.
Yeah, so we hadn't had sex or anything, but he wanted to be exclusive with me.
Yeah.
So he asked me, and I thought it was a little bit rushed.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, what the fuck? Whatever, let's just do it.
Yeah.
I wasn't really into the dating scene anyways, and I was like, well, he has a good job, or might have a good job in the future. He will have a good job. And, you know, he seems like a normal human being. I was kind of, my standard was a little low. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I know that sounds weird because he is he's a doctor.
Now, right?
Now.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, I think that there's way more to a person than their career choice.
Definitely.
And that's what I learned dating this man.
Yeah.
So I said yes to being exclusive, and then he went away. And honestly, during this time, I didn't hear from him at all. Okay?
That's fucked up.
And I know that this doesn't seem like anything to do with the sex club, but it's really building up to how I felt during the time that we went to the sex club. So for the month that he was away, I didn't really, I tried, like, you know, I would try texting him, contacting him, and I wouldn't get much responses.
So he was replying you?
He was replying, but it wasn't anything like, it didn't seem like he was into me anymore, so it was just very odd. And I kind of, during this time, I was living with one of my really good friends, Tara.
Yeah.
And I think I had communicated this to her and told her how I was feeling, and I think that she even thought it was a little bit odd.
I would think that's so fucking weird.
I was so confused. So he finally gets back. We go out to dinner and then move to a different bar to grab some drinks.
Okay.
So we go on a date. I'm a little bit anxious at this point because I'm just like, well, you've kind of been ignoring me while you've been away. And I was a little angry, anxious. I was a little confused. So as we started drinking, I started getting drunk, as you do.
Friendship based.
And I finally kind of mustered up the courage to ask him if he thought we were exclusive and how he felt about, you know, us being in a relationship, or like what was going on between us, because I was just really confused. Yeah. And I think at this point I was just,
I mean, it kind of fucks with your emotions.
It does fuck with your emotions. And I mean, as I said, I wasn't really into I didn't really care. At this point, I think I was just like,
what's the point of this?
Not like, I like, about life.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't really think that I cared much. Like, I was in a kind of a depressive, episode. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of just going with the flow of things and, like, doing whatever made me momentarily feel good.
Okay.
So I think that there were points where he momentarily made me feel good. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll try to pursue this. Mm-hmm. And I asked him about us being exclusive, and he said that he doesn't really think of us as exclusive.
So what the fuck was the point of that?
I don't know. So I was like, okay, yeah, and he was like, why don't we just take it slow and everything? And I mean, obviously, after this, I was kind of like, well, did I do something wrong? Like, in my mind, I didn't actually ask him. I never really felt comfortable enough with him to share my thoughts. Yeah. And this is throughout our whole 2-year, relationship. So I was just kind of thinking to myself, I was like, maybe I texted him too much. Like, you know when you get...
I mean, you don't even text.
I'm a really bad texter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very bad at it. I hate texting, and, like, I mean, I forget. And I didn't really text him that much. There was a point during, like, the time that he was away that I did kind of try to, like, a little bit more. So I was like, oh, maybe I was being too forward. You know, you think these stupid fucking things.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like, these are totally normal things to do while you're in a relationship.
You're exclusive.
Exclusive.
Wait, didn't he say that he only did that because he didn't want you hooking up with somebody else?
Yes. So, that's what I was gonna get to.
Holy fuck.
So, as the night went on, I got more and more drunk, and then I finally decided to ask him, because it was kind of a nagging thought in my head during the time that he was away, that he asked me to be exclusive. Yeah. Because he didn't want me hooking up with other people. I'm a good-looking person. Fucked up. Okay? Yeah. And he knew it. I was gonna get snatched up right away. Yeah. You gotta toot your own horn, ladies, you know? Yeah, of course. So, yeah, I asked him.
Yeah.
And he admitted it. That's one thing I can say for
Timmy.
He was never a liar.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't lie about anything. Honest. He was very, very blunt and honest. Almost cruelly so. Yeah. Which is fine. I think it's better to be honest.
That's so much better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he did admit that, yes, he did only ask me to be exclusive so that he, you know, he could be the only one who was seeing me. And he basically wanted me to be there when he got back.
Okay.
Which is incredibly selfish. I'm sorry.
So selfish.
That should have been, like, the first red flag.
Yeah, you should have been like, well, that's not normal.
Yeah,
that's not
definitely.
okay.
But at this point in my life, I was still trying to get over my ex. And like that relationship had been so toxic and just like full of sadness.
Yeah.
That I thought that, okay, well, this is normal, right? This is better than what I used to be in, basically. So,
no, I get that.
Yeah. So at this point, I was pretty angry.
Yeah.
But I was like, fuck it. Might as well just have fun. So we started getting more drunk. And he brought up this sex club in Toronto called Oasis.
Wait, this is so early on in your relationship.
It is very early on in our relationship.
Holy.
So, for context, me and my ex-boyfriend before Timmy hadn't really explored much. We had sex in weird places.
Yeah.
We've been approached for like threesomes and stuff, but we had never acted on it.
Yeah.
So I hadn't had like I had like a lot of sexual experience, but like when it came to exploring my sexuality, I hadn't really done much of that yet.
Yeah.
So when Timmy brought up Oasis, I was a little bit intrigued, but I was shy to the idea.
Yeah.
So Oasis is a sex club in Toronto, and it's basically a huge party where everybody has sex.
So you just go walk in there and people are just sucking dicks around the corner?
So I'll walk you through it.
Okay.
It's not exactly like that. You don't get slapped in the face with a penis right when you walk through the door. So I actually had heard about Oasis before. I had some friends who, checked it out during university, first year university or so. And they had a lot of fun there. A lot of some of my more I guess adventurous friends. Yeah. And Timmy was telling me that he wanted to go. So I asked him if he had ever gone, and he actually told me that him and his med school friends would go there quite often.
So, wait, you can go there without a sexual partner?
You can go there alone.
And you just go there and you just kind of fuck somebody?
You just do whatever your heart desires.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Timmy and his med school friends would go there.
And his med school friends were guys or a mix?
A mix.
Okay.
Yeah. Which was interesting to find out after I had met his med school friends. Because they would go there and they would fuck each other.
The med school friends are fucking each other?
Yeah.
Whoa, I didn't
Which
know
is
that.
fine.
No, it's totally cool. Yeah.
It was a shock to me because I was like, oh, I've met some of them.
You're like, oh, so you guys
so this
just
girl
fuck
sucked
each other.
your dick. Oh, okay, great.
That is so weird, though, to me.
I was a little bit weirded out by it, but, I'm not going to get angry at somebody for sucking dick.
No.
We weren't even together during that time.
Yeah.
They were all very, very nice. I feel like the ones that actually went to the sex club were, the nicer ones.
Because they're just, open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I find that when you're in a really, high stress, career or
workplace.
Yeah. I feel like you let loose in more extreme ways.
Mm-hmm.
So he was telling me about how he really enjoyed it. He would go there a lot with his med school friends. So
wait, I have another silly question. Mm-hmm. When he went with his med school friends, would he fuck other people or just his med school friends?
From what I gathered and what he told me, it was just his med school friends.
Okay.
Maybe somebody would just join in. I don't know. It was a group thing.
Yeah, I've never done anything like this, so I have so many questions along the way.
So he wanted to go that night, and I was a little bit apprehensive. I didn't really feel like I was in a comfortable position with him, obviously, because I just found out that he lied to me about being exclusive, and we absolutely had no connection at this point. I don't even know why I kept trying. But we dated for 2 years.
Oh my god.
So yeah, he wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to, I think he put the pressure on a little bit. He was telling me how fun it would be.
And you're drunk.
And I'm drunk.
Yeah.
And I do weird shit when I'm
You're
drunk.
Yeah.
I'm just let's go party.
Yeah. Let's go to the sex dungeon. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
It was all in a dungeon. So anyways, I finally cave and I decide to go with him. And at this time I was feeling obviously very, very nervous. Mm-hmm. And a little excited, but it's not something I had ever explored before. And I don't know, I always thought everybody, when you think about a sex club or you think about orgies, or, you know, threesomes and stuff, it's not something that you immediately want to yell out to people and be like, I'm about to go to the sex club. just so everybody knows. It's something that, like, I knew I wouldn't be telling my friends right away.
Yeah.
Because it did feel a little shameful. Like, it felt, you know, like taboo.
Yeah.
So once we got there, so we took a cab. We hopped in that cab, drunk as fuck.
Oh my god. Okay.
And then we went to Oasis.
Yeah.
So at this time, I was working at a really nice restaurant downtown in Toronto. And I was working with my sister at the time, who I did not tell this information to about me going to a sex club. So I worked there quite often. It was like my only job.
Yeah.
So I saw everybody there every single day. We had these valet guys who were so nice.
Yeah.
But you would, you know, I was a hostess, so a concierge. So I would be at the front, so that the valet guys and I would always, like, interact. We'd see each other all the time.
You guys are pretty much, like, next to each
We
other.
were pretty much next to each other.
Yeah.
So we walk up to Oasis, and I'm about to go in. I'm smiling and laughing and stuff, you know, kind of nervous.
Yeah.
And I walk right into my coworker, who was actually bouncing at Oasis.
Oh my god.
And he looks at me, and he's like, Jess?
Oh my god.
He's like, what are you doing here? I didn't even have anything to say. I was like, what are you doing here?
You're like, this is not Jess.
He was like, oh, I'm working. I'm like,
Oh my
me
God.
too.
Me too.
And I just walked right in.
Wait, you said me too.
Yeah, I said me too.
So, like, you're a sex worker. That's pretty much what you were saying.
Well, you don't do sex work at the sex club. You
Okay.
just have sex. Nobody gets paid for having sex there.
Okay.
You're paid to go in there.
You
And
pay.
fuck other people who are also paying to be there.
I just want to know what he was thinking when you
Yeah,
were like,
I
me
mean,
too.
I'm sure he was really confused, but I was too drunk and I just left him in the dust. I was like, I'm not looking back. When I come out, I hope I am a different person and he doesn't recognize me. I was very embarrassed. So it wasn't a great start to the night.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, great. So is this man going to tell everybody I work with that he saw me at Oasis last night? Is my sister going to find out?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was like stuff running through my mind, but the drunkenness kind of just pushed it out, so it was fine at the time. So when you get to the sex club, so when you get to Oasis, you have to pay a fee to get in.
Okay.
And then you walk, there's a main room basically, and it's where they have live music, the bar. So during the time that I was there, they had these amazing drag shows. Okay, they were absolutely insane. And I'm not just saying that because I was drunk, like, they were amazing.
So, that's pretty cool that, like, they put on shows.
Yeah, they put on shows.
Oh, I love that.
So basically what they tell you to do once you get in is go through the main room, and then there's a area with, like, lockers, like change room, and they tell you that you have to get naked because it's just really awkward if you're in your street clothes and everybody else is not. It makes them feel uncomfortable, and I totally understand that.
So you just get buck naked.
So you don't have to get buck naked.
Okay.
But you can take off your, like, street clothes. Like, maybe you can keep. I kept my bra and my underwear on.
Okay.
And then I also kept a towel on because they give you a towel. So you can, like, wrap that around you if you feel a little insecure.
Oh, that's totally fine.
Yeah. But they just don't want you to be in your street clothes because, you know, it would make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, some people are, like, naked. Some people are just, like, dressed casually.
They also have workshops. So you can learn about bondage.
Oh.
They have, like, I think it was, like, there was one about, like, blowjobs. Like, stuff like that. Like, they have, like, workshops or classes that you can take or be a part of so that you can learn how to enhance yourself sexually.
I think that's really fucking cool.
It is really great. We saw this we saw this first half of a bondage class, which is something that I was very interested in, and Timmy was also very interested in. So we got to learn a few things.
Yeah.
So that was cool. They also had, which I thought was really fun, just like in a little room somewhere, like a little tent, they had a fortune teller. So cool. I got to get my fortune read while everybody fucked around me.
Oh my god. So you can see people fucking around you.
Yeah.
And you're just getting your, like, palm read.
Yeah.
And what is she saying to you?
Oh my god. I don't actually remember too much, but she said that she was like, oh, you're at a crossroads or something.
Okay.
That there's some negative energy holding you back.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was so much negative energy in my life that I was like, well, which one is it?
You're like, you are right, but what do you mean?
Timmy? Anyways.
I think it was Timmy.
It definitely was Timmy.
Yeah.
So as you go through the club, there's different floors. So the first floor is kind of what I described, like a dance floor and everything, where you have shows. Then you go upstairs, and there's classes. And then as you go up, like you go further up, there are like rooms for orgies. There are like private rooms that you can kind of have to yourself.
You can pay extra for the private room.
I think that if it's just empty,
you can just go
you
for
can
it.
use it. It's not a very sanitary place.
Nope. It's totally just like probably jizz everywhere. No,
I'm sure there was. So there was also hot tubs and pools, but you weren't allowed to have sex in them.
No, you would get an infection.
Yeah. So we did actually go into like one of the hot tubs, because I was a little bit too scared to go upstairs at first.
Okay.
And yeah, we had drinks. We got more drunk. Shit. At this point, I was shit faced.
Yeah.
And then Timmy convinced me to have sex with him.
Convinced you? How so?
I mean, he was
like, come on, baby, let's just do it. Let's just do it.
He's doing his little dance that Timmy does.
In the fucking windmill.
I don't
add something to me.
He's like, well, let's do it. Yeah, he convinced me. Like, I was a little bit scared at first because I was like, oh, I don't want people watching us have sex.
So the first time you guys had sex was at a sex club?
No.
Okay.
No, definitely we had like sex once before this.
Okay. Like, that would be fucking insane.
So yeah, we decided to have sex.
Yeah.
I was a little bit, I mean, I wasn't super turned on because, I mean, how can you be when there's a bunch of people around you that you don't know?
I wouldn't be able to. I think I would freeze up.
Yeah. So at first, we went into this one room. It was like there was not many people there. So I felt a little bit more comfortable. It was red. Do you know that like when you go to a gymnastics room? Do you remember that? Do you remember it like at school when we were at like, elementary school and they had those like things that we play on? Like that material where you like jump on things. Yeah. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but
okay, so you could like throw yourself onto it and be fine.
Like, it's the things that like people put under like you at a gym, like a gymnast.
So you can jump on it and fall on it.
Yeah. And it's all plastic. It's like, like that plastic material kind of.
I mean, what I'm thinking of is like, think about like when you would do like, like with that big stick and you would hop over and you'd fall onto that material.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay.
I wish I knew what it was called.
No fucking clue.
So anyways, that was the room. It basically had just like these beds made out of that, and the whole room was basically made out of that. So we decided to kind of go into the corner, and we started getting a little freaky.
Yeah.
I was still pretty nervous, but as we went on, I got into it, of course.
Okay.
I was drunk. I'm not going to stress that enough, guys. I was shit-faced. So Timmy and I start doing the do, and he decides to go down on me.
Okay.
So as he's going down on me, I'm like looking around the room.
I would
drunken haze.
I would not be able to pay attention to that.
Oh yeah, it was very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I make eye contact with this man sitting. He's just sitting across from us watching us. He's like, he gives me a little nod and a smile, and I'm like, okay.
I would literally be like, get me the fuck out of here right now.
Yeah, there was also porn playing on like TVs.
Oh, because there's not enough sex around.
No,
you have to put
apparently
the porn
not. You have to get people into the mood. The
True.
sex club.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I kind of at that point I was like, okay, you need to stop because this man just winked at me. Man's like waiting for the invitation, and I'm like, I need to get out of here. He comes up for a breath. And there is just blood all over his face. And I'm like, oh my god, did I just get my period at a sex club? It's all over.
I can't breathe.
I like Timmy's looking at me because I'm like horrified, and he's like, what? I'm like, there's blood all over your face. And he's like wiping it off, and he's like, oh my god, there is. So we run into the washroom. I thought I was bleeding from my vagina. Turns out I wasn't. He actually got a nosebleed.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I was gonna be like, holy fuck.
Yeah, so if you couldn't make this scene more awkward, like, just put yourselves in my position. You guys have never been to a sex club. You're having your boyfriend, or your non-exclusive boyfriend, is going down on you. And a man in the corner is just kind of like, hey. It was fun. It was an experience. Definitely an awakening.
I think at this point I probably would have cried myself to sleep.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't your period blood, so I probably wouldn't cry myself to sleep.
I mean, either or. It was still weird. I'm not ashamed of my period. Let's just get that straight.
But it's like some guy that's not even your boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's like going down you.
I'm pretty sure that when the guy saw the blood, he was like, okay. He was like, I'm out of here. Because I didn't see him after that.
Oh my god.
So we go in. So we make our way to the washroom. We clean ourselves up. We end up having, like, we're not actually allowed to have sex in the washroom.
That's really weird.
It's a no sex place.
Maybe because people have to use the washroom.
If people have to use the washroom, it's like, I think it's like a little bit dirtier. I don't know. Like, what if somebody poops?
Yeah.
Anyways, we decided we were drunk enough to just do it right there in the stall, because I was like, I'm not going out there to have sex again. And I think, he still wanted to have sex.
He still wanted.
And I was just like, I don't want to have sex in front of another old man.
I wonder why he got the nosebleed.
I wonder too. We never found out. Yeah. I think we just brushed it off. We were just like, whatever. Maybe he drank too much. But anyways, we decided to have sex in the stall.
Yeah.
And after that, I was unsatisfied. But he was very satisfied.
Yeah, I just feel like there's no way I could even, like, come at that point.
No, at that point, I was just kind of like, okay, he's obviously still, like, turned up to the max, so, like, get it over with.
Yeah.
You know what, as a woman, I feel like everybody, all the women out there listening, you've definitely been in a situation where you're like, okay, I'll do it, but I won't love it.
Yeah. Like, just get this shit over with.
Yeah, you're like, okay, we started it. It has to end now.
Yeah.
So, like, hurry up.
Take one for the team.
Yeah. So that's basically how I was feeling at this point. And, after he had finished, I told him that I wanted to leave. And I honestly didn't tell anybody about this experience for a very long time.
Like a year, or?
I would say, like, a year or so.
Okay.
And I have a lot of really close friends in Toronto. Mm-hmm. Friends that I tell everything to.
Yeah.
So it felt really weird for me.
You were definitely, like, ashamed of it.
Yeah, I was ashamed of it. I felt like I kind of caved so fast in having this experience with somebody that I didn't really have a connection to.
I honestly thought that, because I know Timmy,
mm-hmm.
I thought that you guys had, like, talked about this for, like, a long time and were, like, dating for so long, and that's when you decided to go to the dungeon club.
No, this was pretty early on.
Yeah,
there were other experiences that me and Timmy had during
mm-hmm.
a relationship that we had talked about beforehand.
Yeah.
But this one was the one that brought me, like, the most shame, I guess. I just felt like I felt dirty.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this guy who just told me, and I mean, think about it. It's hard not to feel shitty about yourself after you find out that the guy that you thought you've been exclusive with told you that, no, you guys aren't exclusive, let's just take it slow, I lied to you. And then you decide to go to a sex club with him that night and just show your private parts to everybody.
Let's go to the sex club.
Yeah. It's like, let's go fuck at a sex club. We're not exclusive, but like...
I'm a YOLO, okay? Let's go.
So I feel like at this point, I was very, I don't know, what was I going to say? I was very vulnerable at this point, and I feel like I was very easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not completely Timmy's fault, obviously.
Of course.
He did get my consent on all of this.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to communicate my feelings to him
mm-hmm.
the way that I should have. But it did leave me with a dirty feeling.
Yeah.
I just felt like, okay, I gave one of, like, an experience to somebody that obviously doesn't really think that much of me.
Yeah.
And I gave it to them so easily.
Yeah.
When I feel like something like that, I mean, I understand that Timmy goes to the sex club every freaking Thursday with his med school students, But, you know, I hadn't, and I felt like I should have done something like that with somebody, you know, I cared about.
That you were, like, close with. You have that bond with, where it's, like, you know, you guys can, like, look each other in the eye and just know, like, it's time to go.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. Yeah. So for a long time, I felt very, very shameful and embarrassed, and I didn't tell anybody about it.
But fuck it.
So on top of feeling very embarrassed about the whole situation, I also did feel a little bit liberated.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, there was a time after, maybe a few months after, where I kind of got over the embarrassment.
Like the icky feeling.
Yeah, I got over the icky feeling.
Yeah.
And I did feel a little bit liberated. I was like, oh, I put myself out there for everybody.
For everybody to see.
Yeah, for everybody to see. And I don't know, I started getting a little bit more comfortable with my sexuality. So I guess, like, I have Timmy to thank a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like you're so, like, experienced. You've, like, tried so many things.
I feel like sometimes you do need that push, but maybe not in the way that Timmy pushed me to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he, like, fully pushed me or anything, but I think that if, like, on it, like, if you were an outsider looking in on, like, our interactions that night, you would kind of see that I wasn't very comfortable with it. And I think that Timmy was definitely he definitely knew that I wasn't completely comfortable with the idea and with the situation that was going on.
All in all, I don't really like Timmy.
Nobody likes Timmy.
No.
Fuck you, Timmy.
Fuck you, Timmy.
He does a lot of more crazy, shitty things.
He does, yeah.
And we will go a lot into my relationship with Timmy, because there are a lot of moments that are embarrassing about that relationship. Yeah. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of nice to know that I kind of have the courage to go out there and do that.
Yeah.
And it's not a shameful thing to go to a sex club.
Not at all.
They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
They're like kink clubs. They're like, you know, that people go to like dominatrix classes and stuff like that. I feel like people like what they like.
And I think that people should go for it and, like, do what you like.
Like, why hold yourself back?
Yeah.
Just like all of Timmy and his friends.
Mm-hmm. Go fuck your friends.
Like, yeah, go fuck your friends in a sex club. You gotta let loose somehow, right? Yeah. So it's just, you know, I feel like if you're thinking about going to a sex club, I would highly recommend it. Maybe not in the way that I did it.
But go with people you're comfortable with.
Go with people you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Even if it is just to kind of check it out. I know that some of my friends, before I had this experience, went to Oasis just to check it out. And they came back and they were like, it was such an interesting experience. They were very happy with their experience. I don't know. They didn't actually have sex with anybody there.
Yeah. I feel like I would go just for, like, the drag show.
The drag show was freaking amazing.
I love drag shows.
Oh my god, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought it was, like, the best thing about that night.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, did you guys ever go back to the sex club, or did he ever bring up that he wanted to go back because he was a regular there?
Clearly.
But then he started dating you. So did you guys go back?
No. So during our 2-year relationship after this, we actually didn't go back to the sex club.
Do you think he went without you, or he didn't? He just gave it up?
No, I don't think he went without me. He was a manipulative person, but he wasn't a liar, as I said.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he would lie about he never lied about where he was going.
Yeah.
Just about us being exclusive and
caring about me in general.
Yeah, just whatever.
So then, did he ever bring it up? Like, oh, I'm giving up the sex club for you. How did that even? Or you guys just never talked about it again?
Like, we talked about it. I think that. So the morning after, I kind of told him that. I mean, he asked me about it, and I told him that I had a good time. I didn't want to, I don't know, break that image for him. Okay. I mean, clearly he had a good time. Yeah. So I kind of shielded him from those feelings that I had. I mean, he should have known, I feel like, being a psychiatrist.
I think that he's just, like, such a robot, though.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. So Timmy is now a doctor.
Yeah.
Good for you, Timmy.
Fuck you.
And he's a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So I feel like as a psychiatrist, you should probably be able to pick up easily on people's emotions.
Timmy is probably the worst psychiatrist in the world. Anytime I would talk to him, I was like, you have no emotions, and you cannot tell when people have emotions.
It's just like he's so selfish, and he only really cares about himself.
Yeah.
I know that sounds very harsh and everything, but I mean, this is only the starting of a relationship, guys. And think about it. Think about it. This is the start of a relationship. We had been seeing each other for maybe 2 months by this point.
Yeah.
And he had been away for one of those months, you know?
Yeah.
So he, actually maybe, like 2.5 months. So he had, lied to me about being exclusive so that he can, make sure that I didn't date anybody.
Did he date people when he was away?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I don't think he did. I think that he was probably a little bit too busy.
Yeah.
And he was like in the middle of fucking nowhere.
It was like a work thing.
Yeah, it was a work thing. Okay. So it was a rotation that he was stuck in the middle of like a small town, Ontario. And he is, as I said, he's a very selfish person. He's also very insecure, and he has like a lot of anxiety. So he's just like always in his own head. So he's not really thinking about other people, or the people around him. Sometimes he is when he's judging them. Yeah. But other than that, like I think he was a terrible person.
So coming back to that, he's selfish. So did he bring it up again that he wanted to go?
Oh yeah, no. Well, he actually never brought it up again.
So maybe he knew.
Yeah, he definitely
could tell.
Yeah, he definitely knew. I mean, it's hard not to. I feel like.
Yeah.
When he told me that he wanted to take it slow and that, he admitted that he had lied to me, my mood definitely changed that night.
Yeah.
I mean, I got more drunk, but I wasn't happy to be there.
Yeah.
And I don't understand where his line of thought was like, okay, maybe I'll just offer to go to sex club. That'll cheer her up.
Oh, but he probably loves it so much. He's like, she's going to fucking love this sex club.
Honestly, what my line of thought there was,
what?
That he, at that time, he wasn't thinking that we were going to work out. He saw that I was in a really good mood. And he was like, well, might as well try to get as much as I can out of this whole night. Oof. Yeah. I don't know why I dated this man for so long.
That just hits different.
That's the way, he thinks.
That's just, a different kind of species.
Exactly. And I that's what I, reflecting on all of this, I have no doubt that's what he was thinking that night. Yeah. He was like, I'm just gonna get it in the sex club. I'm just gonna use the situation to my own advantage.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think I kind of knew that during the whole situation, too.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of also made me feel very shameful. But yeah, as I said, we dated for a very long time after that. And he never brought it up. But he did bring up other things, as we will go into later.
The tales of Timmy.
The tales of Timmy. He brought up how he always wanted to have a threesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we ended up doing that.
It's so weird. When you look at Timmy, I just, don't see a sexual being.
I don't know how I did. If I ever see a photo of him, I'm like, what the fuck?
I see him on the street, I'm like, how?
When you first met him, yeah. I thought that he was, okay, I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't know if I think that I maybe had been alone for a little bit too long, because at this point, so me and my ex, before Timmy, had broken up. We had been together for 6 years or so.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely, I loved this man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
He was so nice. I like him.
He was the sweetest, most handsome, he was such a good person.
He was a good
person. We obviously just didn't work out. There was situations. But anyways, I had been, as I said, in a depressive episode where for a whole year before I met Timmy, I kind of pushed everybody away. I was being very self-destructive in my own relationships. So I think at this point when I met Timmy and he was doing all these red flags, he was just waving his red flags around. right in your face. It was just, I didn't really, I didn't even have any, emotion at this point. I was just I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I was just you know what, I'm just gonna go with the flow. And the flow brought me to a sex club. Or I thought I got my flow.
Yeah.
It didn't.
I can't with that. That's actually hilarious. I kind of wish you just bled into his mouth.
I wish too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish a lot of things I wish I did. Yeah. But yeah, no, Timmy, as you guys will find out later in later episodes, is just a terrible man.
Timmy is terrible.
Terrible Timmy.
Terrible Timmy.
Terrible.
The tales of the terrible Timmy.
Tales of the terrible Timmy. Anyways. Yeah, so if anybody ever thought about going to a sex club?
Let us know. Have you been to a sex club? Yeah. What was your experience? Would you go?
Are you guys regulars like Timmy?
Yeah.
And his med school friends?
Do you go there and fuck your friends?
Do you go there just for the drag shows? Because I feel like I definitely would go back.
If we had one here, I would definitely go for the drag shows.
It's so fun. And honestly, it's nice. I mean,
it's nice to be around everyone who's fucking all the time.
It's kind of obviously, like, at first it's very jarring to go into a place where most people are naked. Like, pretty much everybody is naked.
Yeah.
And there are people having sex. But it's kind of also, it kind of like breaks that barrier in your mind where you have to feel uncomfortable about seeing people naked or like being uncomfortable about your own body. Like, everybody there was so comfortable in their own skin, which I thought was really awesome. And I think that's one of the positive things I got out of the experience. Because I had been pretty insecure for a large part of my life. But to see everybody just like super happy and just like enjoying themselves, I know, like, sexually, but like also like just enjoying themselves, being a part of something that, you know, they could feel comfortable in, and they didn't feel like they were in a place where they weren't being judged. You know what I mean?
I feel like the energy there would be like so good. It would be like really high vibe.
Yeah, everybody was so nice. People were super polite. So like if you go to a sex club and, you know, you're doing the do, or like somebody comes up to you and asks you to do the do and you say no, like, people are super respectful. Like, they're not going to be like, oh, why not?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, so sorry. Okay. Have a good night.
That's
you know?
That's cute. I like that.
It's like consent is a huge thing there. Yeah. I mean, like, rules for orgies. Like, you can't just hop in there.
Yeah.
You need to, like, get consent by like, the rest of the party.
So it's not like the movies.
Yeah, you can't just be like, I'm just going to jump right in there, guys. No, you have to be like, hey, can I join?
So it's not like the movies.
Yeah, you can't just be like, I'm just going to jump right in there, guys. No, you have to be like, hey, can I join?
Like, that's so funny. Just like, tap someone. Hey, can I suck your dick, please?
Exactly. That's exactly how it is.
That's like so weird but so cute at the same time.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So that's my experience at Oasis, the sex club in Toronto. Thank you for listening. And everybody who knows me, I'm sorry.
Now you know.
But now you know. I did try not to go into like complete detail about like everything because I don't want to give my coworkers that picture in their mind. Because I do see them every day.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So if anybody has any questions, I am happy to answer.
Yeah, you can DM us, you can email us. Let us know.
Let us know. Thank you.
Have a good one.